What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Make It Custom. I'm Carl Fisher, and I'm working on the Zephyr today. Loving getting back into this project. Last time we worked on this, we got the back window kind of situated. We decided on a profile. We also created the beginning of our trunk gutter, right? So we need to kind of get a little further on this in this video. So the whole plan will be to get the rest of the skeleton figured out so that we have a place that we can start taking patterns for to make the whole deal here, like the whole deal, I say deal, the whole back of the car. And we're also gonna chop the rear window in this video. So don't forget to like, click subscribe, hit notifications. It's gonna be a really fun one. We're gonna get really far. We're gonna get a little bit more visual on the car, and let's get into it. Something that I'm pretty sure not a lot of people do is chop the back window on a Zephyr. Here's my kind of thought process behind it, is that there's a lot of space here, like there's a lot of real estate, and the back window does break that up nicely. And I don't want that tiny little mail slot back window. I'm not trying to do that, but I do feel that the distance of opening that we have in this back window is slightly disproportionate to what we've done so far with the chop. The chop is just a little bit more hammered than most, in my opinion. I think that, you know, a 2.5 to 3.5 chop is probably what's most normal on a Zephyr, and they look great. Don't get me wrong, that is a beautiful, beautiful look. And call me crazy, but I just like chops that are just a little bit heavier. It makes you want to just ride a little bit lower, and I don't know, it feels cool driving in a chopped car. So that's what I'm going for. And this back window, I think, will fit a little bit better with just a mild chop. I'm talking about maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe 1 inch. Reason being is that this reverse curve, I don't want it to be too sharp at the base of it, and I don't want that window to be too tall to make like a, you know, an angle there. So I just want to take a little bit out. Because of how heavy the chop is, I think that that little bit will actually make a difference. Now I have to decide whether or not we're gonna go 3/4 of an inch or if we're gonna go 1 inch. One thing when you're chopping windows, you gotta choose the right spot. Okay, so the spot that I'm gonna choose is what is gonna be easiest to reassemble said window. These are flat glass split windows, right? So would I chop it here? No. Would I chop it there? No. I'm gonna chop it in the spot where both the distance from this to this side and this to this side are the exact same. So that when they go back together, I don't have to stretch or fill or do anything weird, right? Now the center one, I'm not gonna chop it there, I'm not gonna chop it there. I'll probably chop it directly in the middle somewhere, because then it will go back together the same. Like this tapers down lower. So if I take an inch out of here, it's not gonna line up perfectly. So there's a little bit of thought involved in doing something like this. I always err on the side of too heavy of a chop. So I'm just gonna go with the 1 inch tape here. So yeah, we'll take it probably, I don't know. See, I'm just looking to see where is it pretty much the same. I would say probably there. Going straight across, yeah. By the way, the chop class is now on the site. We are gonna be doing a chop class here on a 1952 Chevy. It's a coupe. It's gonna get chopped probably 4 inches, and it's gonna be a pile of fun. We're gonna do it all weekend. It'll be like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday type class. You can get your spot. I'm sure the spots are gonna go fast if they're not already sold out, which I'm sure there's still spots. That car is gonna be for sale too. If somebody wants the car after the chop class, and they buy it before the chop class, you get a free spot. I think I'm gonna ask like, I don't know, $8,000 US for the car. Car's pretty good. It was like a running car at one time. Somebody started taking it apart. It's pretty solid, but yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, let's start cutting this thing apart. Safety glasses. So we made a couple marks last night, like where this window was sitting. And Elio and I kind of figured that it would be best if when we do that chop, oh, I just put slivers right under my finger. Anyway, we wanted to split the difference. So about 1/2 inch up from where we were would mean that it's like 1/2 inch either side. So we'll see what that's like. Man, I already feel better about it because it looks like there just isn't like a flat spot on the side of the window either. I really like it. Yeah. I think that was the right move. Now we've got like a little bit better approach from our reverse curve on the catwalk. This is the catwalk area, that's what they call it, between the trunk and the back window. And so we've got to have like this nice flow where this is tapering up a little bit, coming up to here. We want that nice flow. And then it also has this peak, like that center peak in the trunk stays a peak all the way up to the back window, and it kind of fades away right here. That's what happens like on a coupe, okay? So we got to keep that in mind with what we're doing here, because this continues to raise up as it gets to the center. So if this was too low, it would flatten off here, which is what we don't want. So I think at this point, what I'm gonna do is probably just make sure that it's totally centered, like that window. I'm gonna look through the front, I'm gonna look through the back, I'm gonna eyeball what the center of my header panel is, the center of the back window, to the center of the front of the car. And to me right now, it looks like the window needs to go a bit to the passenger side by like maybe 1/4 inch. We got 19 and 7/16. Keep in mind this was, actually I'll go to this. I don't know. It's hard to know what to trust because these cars were not like perfect, right? 18 to that edge, 18 to that edge, dead nuts. I know that this line should have been pretty sharp and straight. So we're 18 inches there and there. If I go straight up from the seat riser to our cut, I've got 33 and 3/8. I've got 33 and 1/4. So an 1/8 of an inch difference that this could be maybe, I mean, barely lifted. I wonder if I should be doing this with wire or if we should go to shrinking and stretching material. Maybe what we do and what's important is to have this supported vertically so that that can't change, and then start doing a couple of braces this way. It'd be nice to get like a couple here and then a few this way so that we can start making our paper patterns. We got one set done. This is our first kind of piece that we're gonna tack in here. I just hope it's not too flat in this spot, but we don't know. All we have is the micrometer. And I'll measure how far up this one is, 12 1/4-ish. Sign, it looks like it's in pretty much the same spot. Now let's try and get another one probably about here. Then I think we're gonna have to do something like a piece that comes around here, and same thing here and here. So we probably have 1, 2, 3, at least 3 more on each side, and then a couple go in here until we got that skeleton where we want it. I think right now we could make this piece, you know, and once we got a couple there, we'll probably start by making that panel and that panel. Have a little look-see here. Show you what I'm trying to see with the eyes, right? I'm trying to make sure that even though that piece is bigger than this piece, it's bigger than this piece. When you sight line down, they all kind of flow. And the angle at which this is, I need to make sure that that's going to be kind of what's happening on the trunk too. You see how much peak that trunk has? And the back window's kind of flat? That dictates that basically our reverse curve here is going to be more of a reverse curve, and then a slightly tighter radius as it comes up here, because this is raising up and this is kind of straight, right? So that's something that if you look closely on chopped Zephyrs, you'll see that. You'll see that this is a little bit sharper here. But at the same time, this peaks here as well. And on the coupes, there is a peak that fades away right at that back window. It's like a little whoop, little whoop. So when I go to make these pieces, it'll be one panel here, one panel there, and then a center strip that has that perfect peak in it that I'll weld in afterwards. I mean, you could make it all out of one piece, but I don't think it makes sense because the welds will be easy to hammer and you'll be able to get and guarantee a straight peak. Elio and I just had a little coffee, and I swear we needed to have that coffee because we came back in here and the first thing that we did was look at the profile of everything. And I'm standing over there and I'm going, man, I don't know if like the angle of this is right. It looks too flat. But I was standing on that side and we measured again, and that side, I guess the vice grip had slipped down 3/8 of an inch and it looked wrong. And we measured, I put it back, the micrometer confirms that we're good. So I feel like the flow that we're getting out of this chop it's what I like, it's what Elio likes. It's not the same as all the Zephyrs out there, and none of them are the same. Every chop's a little different, but for a heavy chop and having that 1 inch out of the back window, couldn't be happier. If you watched the earlier parts of these videos, I was very concerned that I chopped this car too much, and some would say I did, but customizing a car is about making it how you want it, and everything to this point has got me to make this chop how I want it. So very, very stoked. Now I'm looking for this piece. See, 4 eyes are better than 2. Elio's got it. Elio's on track. What is that? Oh, it's 12 inches. We'll go here. See, if I welded this one in before we had that coffee, which that's exactly what I was about to do, I probably would not have noticed that 3/8 of an inch and it would have been locked in. So sometimes you gotta take your time. You gotta take your time a little bit. thinking that this is where this one's gonna sit. I think it's looking pretty good. It flows. It's hard to see this one, like, cause it's not quite the same profile as this. It's changing shape as it comes up here, but you gotta make sure that the flow happens, right? Like it's kind of a weird thing to visualize. Keep in mind, everybody, this is not something I have ever done. So I'm like learning with you guys, and I'm probably gonna screw stuff up. So just don't be afraid to give it a shot, right? This is this framing something out that has never been made before. All these panels being this large, like I've not done that stuff. This is new to me. So hopefully you don't take everything I say as the Bible, because there are guys that you should be considering the Bible. And those are the guys I'm looking up to as well, right? Bespoke Coachworks, Cornfield Customs, anybody that does this all the time, like Menji's Twin Speed Shop, like for this type of stuff. I'm just trying to take a good crack at it and not screw my car up. But I'm slowly understanding, and I feel like I'm learning a lot about trying to figure out a flow of a shape. You know, these panels are going to be what makes the car, you know, makes or breaks the car. And when there is a buck that is misshapen, the metal sometimes can't make that shape. Like you sometimes won't find out till the actual, like if you don't catch it right away, it's almost too late. Sometimes, you know, you'll make a wire buck and it won't be fitting in one spot, but you can't actually make it fit that spot without screwing it up. It's because you screwed up the buck. So I'm trying to take my time with this buck and make sure that I'm not making any shapes that don't flow together, because if they don't flow, then there's no way to check your material that close, right? So anyway, I'm checking it from this way. I'm looking at it like that to see, and I'm like kind of raising my eye up and down, looking at these three and seeing how it flows up into this. I'm also looking at like the angle of entry on these pieces. You know, I know that this side of the car is a little bit flatter. You know, this is tipping in at hopefully about the same angle that this is tipping in. And then this kind of gets a little bit shallower. That's something I'm also not totally sure about, is that if this is a bit too shallow on these ones. But something that we're looking at also is, I mentioned this in the last video, this body line, you see where this metal is, and you can see that flat spot that we filled in. That is inside of the body line a bit. So this trunk lip is actually kind of inside of the top of the body line, which means that this flat is not the same alignment as this flat. Okay, so I might try and tip the edge of this trunk lid a bit shallower so it's not as steep, so that the trunk lid ends at the top of that body line. There's all these little things that you got to consider. So like, this is not something you want to rush. I'm trying not to rush. As excited as I am, I'm not rushing. And you can always change it. You can always come back and change it. But I think time spent here looking at it from every angle is all so worth it, because you'll catch yourself before making a wrong move. I got to learn how to use my left foot on the shrinker, because my right one's getting a real workout right now. Haha, I just got Elio to make it instead. It's looking sweet. It's looking like a car. Okay. Got a couple more pieces to put in before we are kind of done with the skeleton. A lot of you might be asking, like, is this staying in here? No, it's not. This is not staying in here. We will have deliberate braces to put in, but this is the skeleton that holds the sheet metal so that we can form it and check it and make sure everything's gonna fit. I think the next part I'm gonna do is probably one across here and then a couple of pieces sort of thing. Or maybe I'll just do like a couple pieces that go the whole way. I'm not sure, but we need to support this area a little bit because it is kind of a complex shape. It does have a compound curve here, but then it kind of goes into this reverse curve here. And there is this peak in the trunk that's supposed to come through this catwalk and then actually kind of peak a little bit extra right there. So I think that's a separate piece. And then we have a piece here and a piece there. We're gonna need to be able to support those as we are making the panels and check it. So I think I definitely need one going across and then something kind of this way. So I think that's the piece I'm gonna make next. I'm excited to start shaping. Like, I don't wanna jump the gun too hard. I do need to make sure that these pieces are kind of finished and in their place. Well, I guess I don't really. Like, all this stuff is kind of adjustable as we go, but I'm also gonna have to I kind of wanna make all the edges good so that we have a place for our panels to stop at. So I should make a panel for here. It's got like a little bit of a body line usually in it, like a little bit of a swoopy guy. I'm gonna finish the skeleton. That's the goal for today, for now. For this video is to get the skeleton done. Then we can kind of step back, have a look at it. We might put the car outside and really step back and look to make sure that we are totally happy with the way everything looks so that we're committed. One thing I'll say about the shrinker that, like, Elio kind of had the question, it dawned on me that I didn't really talk about it. I've got a 1-inch flange and there's 1-inch jaws in the shrinker. If you push that in all the way, it's gonna be really difficult because basically you need more shrink on the outside than you do on the inside. So a shrinker works better if you're not quite all the way bottomed out because, you know, it's trying to shrink in a really tough spot. Like, you can't really shrink right next to this piece because this piece isn't gonna shrink. So away from the edge is when the shrinking becomes a little bit easier. And then it sometimes creates a little bit of a ripple effect, like a little bubble. But you can then kind of like bite in a little further and flatten that out. But yeah, it's important to kind of know how they work so that you have an easier time using it. So I'm like kind of biting in halfway when I'm doing this, and I'm having an easier time getting my shrink. That's it, I think, for this video. I'm really stoked with the progress on the Zephyr. I'm not gonna get it kicked outside right this second, and I do wanna get started on the next video, which is gonna be hammering out a couple panels. I just wanna rough a couple out. Like, there's tons of other work to do. I've got work to do here. I've got so much work to do now that we've got the skeleton happening. But I'm really kind of antsy to hammer a panel out. So stay tuned. In the next video, I'm going to make a panel for up here and probably make a couple panels down here. If I get that centerpiece kind of roughed in, I'd be really happy with that. I would also like to make these side pieces. Who knows how many videos we're gonna be in for that. But thanks a lot for watching Make It Kustom, everybody. Really appreciate each and every one of you. And we'll catch you on the next one. Take her easy. Bye-bye. Oh, don't forget, on the website, if you want to get in on that chop class, we are doing that. That's going to be end of July, last weekend in July. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to chop a 52 Chevy together. It's going to be 3 days long. It's going to be all night Friday night, Saturday all day, Sunday all day, and we are going to make sale panels for it. We're going to do a sick 4-inch chop, and the car will be for sale on the website as well. If you buy it before if you want the car and you buy it before the chop class, you get a free spot in the chop class. All right, later everybody, bye-bye.